Starting off our list at number 10 is Ashton Kutcher and Rhianna. Let this one sink in for a minute. I'm a little weirded out. Maybe I'm just living under a rock, but I'm not sure how I missed this. Apparently they had an 8-week fling, and it all started after pictures leaked of her leaving his pad in the middle of the night back in 2012. Sources say the two of them hit it off at a friend's party in December and began having a little casual fling after that. A photographer busted Riri as she drove up to his property with her security team around midnight one night, and they caught pictures of her leaving around 4 a.m. A source told The Sun the flirting began as soon as Rhianna and Ashton met and swapped numbers. That moves on to text and arranging to meet. They snuck off to a Santa Monica hotel a few weeks ago. They are two single people having a fling, so they thought it would be best to meet in secret. I guess the hookups lasted for 8 weeks and nothing serious really came from it. It was really just a fling. At number 9 is Matthew McConaughey and Janet Jackson. This is weird. Why are all these hookups so weird and random? The two of them caused chaos in Hollywood after posing for a picture at the 2002 Grammys. Rumors started that they had a fling going on, but Matthew always denied that there was anything between them. His side of the story is, I quote, "We swapped some good music and she's a dear lady. She's a sweetheart, but we're not dating, we're just friends." But her side of the story is, I quote, "I guess we did date. He's a great guy and such a sweetheart. It was just for a minute and that's why I am so hesitant to mention it." Okay, so which one is it? I think that they had this little thing going on, but maybe it was more serious for her, like they weren't on the same page about it. What do you guys think? Either way, it's weird. I don't care what anyone says, I just cannot picture them together.
First up on the list is Heidi Klum, the German supermodel and well-known TV personality for her appearances on television shows Project Runway and America's Got Talent. Her love life is almost as infamous as her work in the media, with the wild ride of ups and downs. She's been married 3 times and has been romantically linked with tons of other celebrities. But in 2014, after she filed for divorce from her former husband Seal, the model started dating her security guard Martin Kristen. When they started dating, Martin had been Heidi's bodyguard for 4 years. Quote, "He has cared for our entire family, primarily for our 4 children. He helped us tremendously. He's a great man and we just got to know each other from a completely different perspective." They would date for about a year and a half before deciding to call it quits in late 2013. Apparently, the reason why they split was because Martin got bored with being a house husband and having everything handed to him. I guess not everyone lusts for fame, heavy respect. Next on the list is Jennifer Lopez. Before A-Rod and even before Ben Affleck, Jennifer Lopez was extremely close to her bodyguard and personal trainer Ojani Noah. While they may have been pretty intimate, especially with all the time working out and protecting the singer and actress, before they would eventually start to date in 1996. In fact, they were so close that they got married to one another in 1997. The two would only be married for 10.5 months before they decided to split. The divorce was messy, however, and drawn out for quite some time as both parties were unable to reach an appropriate agreement point. The next celebrity is Pamela Anderson, a Canadian-American actress, model, and television personality. She's known mostly for her scantily clad appearances in Playboy magazine and Baywatch. After her time in the spotlight, she's mostly living out her years these days in Canada pretty quietly. While the icon has been in relationships with tons of celebrities throughout her time, she has gotten married for the 5th and hopefully final time to her bodyguard Dan Hayhurst. The two reportedly got extremely close during the stay-at-home order and quietly, in a rather beautifully intimate ceremony, got married in Canada. I mean, just look at these pictures. She looks so happy. Adorable. According to Daily Mail TV, Pam stated, quote, "I'm exactly where I need to be, in the arms of a man who loves me." I love this for her. Next is the princess of pop herself, Britney Spears. The American singer, songwriter, dancer, and actress was the biggest mega superstar of the late 1990s and early 2000s. While now she is in a healthy relationship with her fiancé, Sam Asghari, in 2008 she began an intimate relationship with 2 of her bodyguards. If rumors are to be believed, which they are not always by the way, so grain of salt with this one, but if they are to be believed, then Britney apparently dated her ex-Israeli soldier boyfriend Lee. The two were only casual, however, and would break up only shortly after the rumors started. Then, 2 years later, in 2010, Britney reportedly dated another one of her bodyguards named Ryan. Again, must not have been super serious because we barely see him outside of a few cozy appearances with the pop star. Next is Amy Winehouse. Amy Winehouse was a British singer-songwriter known for her expressive and gritty musical genres. She's been married and divorced and has had tons of turbulent love affairs during her time in the spotlight before her tragic and sudden passing. After she divorced from her husband, Blake Fielder Civil, Amy got really close with her bodyguard Neville. The reason she got divorced, by the way, was because she allegedly enjoyed romantic liaisons with other men while on vacation in the Caribbean islands. When speaking of the new relationship, the artist apparently told her friends that she liked him because, quote, "he makes me feel safe because he's big and strong." They were even seen going on vacation with one another to St. Lucia, where she introduced him to her friends and family. They were romantically linked for a few months before eventually fizzling out over time. I wonder if he kept working for her after the breakup. Awkward.
At number 10, Jessica Simpson. I'm not one for cheating. I'm a very faithful person and a very honest person, but I also know that if you were to cheat on your partner, you might want to try hiding it better than Jessica Simpson did in the mid-2000s. Paparazzi exposed Jessica for allegedly cheating on her then husband Nick Lachey when they photographed the singer leaving the Chateau Marmont hotel. See, upon hearing that, you'd think, I don't know, maybe she just had a wild night and she needed to crash the hotel. Or maybe she was visiting a friend or anything else. She was known as the industry's goody two-shoes girl, so no one would have expected an alleged affair being the reason for her stay at the hotel. The evidence supports that. How about the fact that when she was photographed leaving the hotel, she was seen wearing Adam Levine's shirt? Not too long ago, Jessica came out and admitted to her extramarital affairs during this time, so maybe she was really there with the Maroon 5 frontrunner. At number 9, John Mayer and Jessica Simpson. Speaking of Jessica Simpson, she seems to have a reputation for having her relationships exposed by paparazzi. Photographers caught John Mayer and Jessica Simpson while on vacation in Cabo, and when they captured the photos of the couple, they had no clue that they had actually witnessed the exact moment that their relationship ended. Apparently, their relationship had been rocky for a while, so I'm guessing that this is why photographers were following the couple so intently looking for a scoop. I doubt they were expecting to strike gold with this picture. As they snapped the photo and released it to the public, news of their breakup broke, but it doesn't seem like John and Jessica had even the slightest chance of keeping their breakup under wraps. I still can't believe that it was actually confirmed that their relationship officially ended seconds before these pictures were taken. That's insane.
Coming in at number 8 is Kim Kardashian and Nick Cannon. I feel like I should have known about this one. Like it should have made more headlines or something. Unless it did and I just didn't see them. The two of them got together after Kim's whole sex tape thing, and apparently the sex tape is what ruined their little fling. They got together back in September 2006 and called off what they had going on a few months later in January 2007. You could kind of say they were dating, like they were an item. Nick calls Kim one of the nicest people you will ever meet, but told the Howard Stern show that they ended because she lied about her sex tape. He told the story saying, "This was my issue. We talked about this tape and she told me there was no tape. If she might have been honest with me, I might have tried to hold her down, but the fact she lied and told me there was no tape, no." He even went as far as saying that he thinks Kim had something to do with the tape's release, like it was actually planned. Regardless though, Nick doesn't have anything rude to say about her or their few months together, and Kim doesn't have anything to say about it at all. Sliding into our number 7 spot is Mel B and Zac Efron. The world was shook when it was revealed that the two of them hooked up back in 2017. I am still shook, you guys. It was around the time that Mel split from her husband of 10 years. What better timing than to hook up with Zac Efron, right? According to The Sun, Mel, who was 43, then met Zac, who was 30, on an exclusive dating app where they started to exchange some flirty messages. An unnamed friend of Mel's told the British newspaper he ended up driving over to her pad, they hit it off and spent a few enjoyable hours together. It wasn't exactly a meeting of the minds, neither saw it as long term, but there was chemistry there. Mel thought Zac had an amazing body. Well, duh. Neither of them have confirmed nor denied the hookups, which is almost a confirmation in itself, I feel. Mel made an appearance on Piers Morgan's Life Stories, and he asked her about the hookup rumors. She didn't say anything, and he asked, "No denial?" and Mel responded with, "But no comment." So basically, yeah, it happened. At number 6 is Jay Leno and Sharon Osbourne. She has had no problem talking about their brief fling, which happened over 40 years ago apparently. She revealed all the juicy details while speaking to Howard Stern on his Sirius XM show. Turns out that when they had their quick run together, she was 25 years old and it was before she married Ozzy Osbourne, just to put it into a timeline for you. Fling happened after she moved to the US and saw one of his stand-up comedy shows. She liked what she saw and started to flirt with him through these goofy prank calls. That's one way to flirt, I guess. Sharon explained the story saying, "One thing led to another. He came to my house and met me, and then we had a little fling. The fling was more fling for me and not fling enough for him. I'm not even sure what that means. Jay told his version of the story on The Tonight Show and said, "What happened was she had seen me at the Comedy Store. I had never met her and she got my phone number and she called me every night at midnight for an hour. She was just calling me, but she didn't say who she was. She just had this British accent and she was really intelligent." Well, there you have it, ladies. Now you know what to do to get the attention of your next crush. Call them at midnight, but don't tell them who you are. Halfway through the list at number 5 is Paris Hilton and Val Kilmer. This list is just getting weird. Definitely the most random pair ever. They shocked fans after pictures surfaced of them making out back in 2006. The pictures were reported to be from 2002 during the time that Val was filming his movie Wonderland, which Paris had a cameo in. The pictures were published in an Australian magazine and show Val groping and kissing the blonde bombshell. They were pretty steamy pics, I'm not gonna lie. But their age gap was the main thing that surprised most people. Paris was 25 at the time and Val was 46. Turns out there was a big scandal tied to those photos. New Weekly reported that the images had been leaked for an upcoming auction of Hilton's belongings, which were illegally seized from a Los Angeles storage unit after she fell behind with payments. The pictures are believed to have been taken in Val's West Hollywood mansion. Another reason why it was so shocking was because just 1 year earlier he was criticizing her to the media. He said, "Paris Hilton is a great example. She's famous for nothing. It's what we are celebrating in my country, the nothingness of her fame." Well, he clearly wasn't bothered by her nothingness when he was hooking up with her. Here we are at number 4 with Carmen Electra and Simon Cowell. We saw the two of them making headlines back in 2012, but I think I can speak for the majority of us and say that we were hella confused as to what their situation was. But after a lot of speculation, Simon finally confirmed that they were dating each other, but they weren't exclusive. He went on air with Ryan Seacrest and said, I quote, "She's not my girlfriend. We're people who date." He was smitten by her though and kept talking about how adorable she is. The feeling was totally mutual though. Carmen opened up about the relationship, or whatever it was, and said, "He's so cute, he is adorable. He is actually a sweetheart. The thing is, we worked together on Britain's Got Talent. I was a guest judge and I had so much fun. I really liked him. I think he's really cool." However, things got nasty between them when she found Simon hooking up with Lauren Silverman. Like, literally found him. She walked in on them hooking up at his LA home. Awkward. Alright guys, at number 3 is Cameron Diaz and Tyrese. It happened back in 2007 when they were spotted making out at an LA club, and on top of that, she was at an Oscar party with him, which had the media going crazy. A source reported the makeout session saying, "They made out right in front of me on the dance floor." Tyrese was 28 years old and Cameron was 34. There really isn't much else to the story other than the fact that Cameron was simply enjoying her single status after she split with Justin Timberlake. Things seemed to get hot pretty quickly between the two of them, but the fire went out just as quick. It was very short-lived. In spot number 2 is Chelsea Handler and 50 Cent. When the hookup rumors started to spread back in 2010, I thought it was all just fake news. But then Chelsea told Oprah Winfrey that he was a sweetheart and was, I quote, "so cute, but that their fling wasn't anything serious." She later decided to air out all of her dirty laundry when she went on Howard Stern's morning show and spilled all the details. And when I say all, I mean all. She straight up talked about how the sex was. Chelsea says they started talking and flirting after he appeared on her show. There was a weekend when she was traveling to Nashville and he asked if he could meet her out there. She says, I quote, "We went out, we dated, we had sex, my friends all loved him, so we dated for a couple of months." But their breakup story was the juicy part. Turns out she was having his ex-girlfriend Sierra on her show, and he called her the day before to tell her that Sierra wants to get back together with him and is upset about them dating. Chelsea tells the story saying, "So you're telling me this girl wants to get back together with you, but she's upset that you're dating me, is what you're saying?" He's like, "Yeah, so I just want you to know when she comes." Then I called him the worst thing you could say to a black person short of calling him the N-word, something along the lines of being a gangster. And it was really, really offensive, and I hung up and I've never spoken to him again. Coming from Chelsea though, that really doesn't surprise me. Taking the number 1 spot is Cher and Tom Cruise. How did this even happen? It's known as one of the most baffling romances in Hollywood history. They actually were an item back in the 1980s. She opened up about it over the years to multiple media outlets, saying that they met at Sean Penn and Madonna's 1985 wedding. Cher has noted that he was not a Scientologist during their time together and called him, I quote, "just the most adorable man you can imagine." She even went as far as saying that he remains in her top 5 list of best lovers, if you know what I mean. She said, "It was pretty hot and heavy for a little minute. When we kissed, I thought my head would shoot right off my body. Get it, Cher? The romance was brief though, and by the sounds of it, she probably wishes that it lasted longer.
Next up is the late actress Elizabeth Taylor, one of my personal favorites. She was one of the most popular stars of the classic Hollywood cinematic era. On top of being one of the biggest stars of her time, she was also just as known for being the type of woman to fall in and out of love very easily. She's been married and divorced 8 times throughout her life to 7 different men. But her last husband was her own personal bodyguard, Larry Fortensky. After she got divorced from her husband before Larry, John W. Warner, Elizabeth remained single for over 10 years. That was until she met Larry in 1991. Although the two were only together till 1996, they remained extremely close even after the divorce. They remained close friends until Elizabeth passed away in 2011. Next up is the daughter of Princess Rainier III and Grace Kelly, Princess Stephanie Elizabeth. Unlike her movie star mother, known for her dazzling beauty and personality, Stephanie has had an extremely tumultuous relationship with, well, relationships. The princess is known as quite the wild child, and obviously, being royalty, she has a rather impressive security detail. One such member of her security and a personal bodyguard of hers got very close to her, and the two secretly dated for years before shocking everyone by marrying him in a civil wedding at the Palace of Monaco. They also had 2 children together, but sadly divorced after only a year of marriage. The reason behind their divorce, apparently, was because her bodyguard was getting caught being extremely romantic and intimate, if you know what I mean, with another person. After the discovery was unveiled, he was promptly kicked out of the royal family. Next up is Kim Kardashian herself. Back in the early days of her hit reality television show and all of its spin-offs, Keeping Up with the Kardashians, Kim documented the wild time of her single life shenanigans. One such episode details her and her friends going out to a party in New York. During Kim's wild night, she documents having a fling with her personal bodyguard, Shango Dian. The Australian bodyguard and her were seen together a ton of times throughout the filming of the reality television show. That being said, Shango found his true love and wife, marrying her less than 2 months after Kanye married Kim. Even though it didn't amount to anything, their hookup is well known for its appearance on the reality television show. Eventually, Shango had to leave the Kardashian clan because of a multitude of issues, including an expired visa and inability to keep up with the Kardashians. Quote, "They are a beautiful family and I enjoyed being part of that, but I didn't really have a lot of work over there and I didn't want to have to ask for $50 to go to the movies." That being said, he and Kim have surprisingly maintained contact. Shortly after she dissolved her marriage to Kanye and began dating Pete Davidson, Kim went on vacation to Australia and she had emailed Shango to see if he would be part of her security detail. Sadly, it didn't work out because a security team had already been constructed, but it was nice to see that there were no hard feelings between the two. Scarlett Johansson is next up on the list. The American actress, known for tons of blockbuster movies, had a fun fling with her personal bodyguard way back in 2012. She and him got super close to one another over the summer and even went on vacation together on board a yacht in the Mediterranean. So not only did he have her back, but he also helped oil it too, as they tanned and got super cozy with one another. What's interesting about this seemingly short fling is that Scarlett was with another man at the time. She was dating an advertising executive, and although I can't seem to find any information on how he felt about Scarlett being buttered up by her personal bodyguard on their private vacation, I can't imagine he was too happy about it. It seems though that they would fizzle out after only a few months together and move on to separate people.
Number 8, Dakota Johnson and Chris Martin. When fans are really invested in a couple, they will do anything to get the latest relationship gossip. Same goes for when a celebrity calls it quits. For the next few weeks after their breakup announcement, paparazzi will be everywhere trying to catch a glimpse of those people trying to look for a scoop. Well, this is exactly what happened with Dakota Johnson and Chris Martin. In June of 2019, Dakota and Chris announced that they had broken up after 2 years together. Obviously, having been together for so long, their split was big news and the paps just had to get in on the scoop. Well, it wasn't until a few months later when photographers spotted the two having a day together at the beach. They snapped some photos and broke the news that the two were not split up as everyone had thought. The fires of love had reignited and the paparazzi were the ones to expose the truth. At number 7, Kristen Stewart and Rupert Sanders. At the time, this incident was big news. When paparazzi snapped photos of Kristen Stewart and director Rupert Sanders in an affair, the news blew up. Paparazzi exposed their secret relationship, and honestly, it's stuck with Kristen till this day. When you ask people why they hate Kristen, the overwhelming answer is because of her cheating scandal. The exposure was enough to end both Sanders and Stewart's relationships with their partners. The whole thing went down while filming Snow White and the Huntsman, so I guess as Twilight came to a close, so too did the coveted relationship between Bella and Edward. This scandal was probably one of the best examples of paparazzi blowing the doors of a story. At number 6, Rhianna and Ashton Kutcher. Here's the tea on this fling, so get your mugs ready. Apparently Rhianna and Ashton had a little entanglement back in 2012 as she was spotted leaving the actor's house in the early hours of the morning back in March of that year. Sources suggested that the two had reportedly had a one-night stand, noting that the singer had arrived around midnight that night and left around 2 a.m. This spotting sort of confirmed some people's speculation that there was something going on between the two of them because this wasn't the first time they were seen getting close to one another. According to one source, they had been flirting and texting with each other and meeting up at hotels. Other sources said that at the time they were just two single people having fun and saying, quote, "Both of them love a good time and I think they're just too busy for anything serious just yet." End quote. There was no definite end to this fling, and since it wasn't anything serious, it doesn't really matter, but it's still interesting to find out that these two Hollywood stars were so close at one point. At number 5, Ashley Olsen and Lance Armstrong. Here's a juicy little story about forbidden love. Well, not really, but it's still a little spicy. You see, actress and fashion designer Ashley Olsen and former professional cyclist Lance Armstrong had a bit of a fling in 2007, and very few people were on board with it. They started seeing each other a few weeks after Lance broke up with fashion designer Tory Burch, and sources say that Ashley and Lance were infatuated with each other. The two were spotted on a date at the Rose Bar in Gramercy Park Hotel, and they were seen macking on each other, then later leaving together in the early hours of the morning. Because there was a 15-year age gap, the people closest to Lance advised the cyclist to stop seeing Ashley over fears that this relationship and the large age difference would ruin his career. Lance tried to fight off his infatuation for Ashley, but things just ended up fizzling out a couple months later. At number 4, Kim Kardashian and Nick Lachey. Did you know that Kim Kardashian and Nick Lachey dated? Back in 2006, after splitting from his ex Jessica Simpson, Nick had his rebound game on with Kim K, who at the time was still a nobody in terms of fame. In an interview, Nick shared some details about his relationship with Kim Kardashian, where he claimed that Kim used him for fame because at this time, she was only known as Paris Hilton's assistant. During the interview, Nick said, quote, "Let's just say this. We went to a movie, no one followed us there. Somehow, mysteriously, when we left, there were 30 photographers waiting outside. There are certain ways to play this game, and some people play it well." End quote. In a way, Kim admitted that being linked to Nick worked well in terms of getting her notoriety, as she wrote in her 2010 book, Kardashian Confidential, that after dating Nick, paparazzi started calling out her name when she was out. At number 3, Scarlett Johansson and Justin Timberlake. It is rumored that Scarlett Johansson and Justin Timberlake have gotten pretty close in the past and have hooked up in secret on a few occasions. Their secret relationship of sorts reportedly began after they worked together for Justin's music video, What Goes Around Comes Around, where Scarlett played Justin's love interest. Sources have said that the pair got very close to each other back in 2011 while Justin was dating Jessica Biel. Some sources say that after having a wild night out of town, party hopping in New York, Justin was spotted heading straight for Scarlett's apartment. Now again, nothing is confirmed, but nothing's denied either, so what do you guys think? At number 2, Ryan Reynolds and Sandra Bullock. Apparently, there was a spicy relationship blooming between Ryan Reynolds and Sandra Bullock back in 2011. Reports said that they had enjoyed a quote-unquote close friendship for about a decade, and that they also reportedly enjoyed some secret holidays with each other as well. This all started happening after the release of their movie Proposal. They never really tried to hide their connection to one another, but they didn't really confirm anything either. They kind of just existed. The two of them apparently spent most of their time at Sandra's estate, and they were even photographed kissing on New Year's Eve. Their publicists at the time tried to convince the public that their relationship was, quote, strictly platonic, but I don't know guys, I think we really know what was going on there. And finally, at number 1, Harry Styles. When Harry Styles was still a rising star in the X Factor, he had his first celebrity hookup. Though it may have been fun in the beginning, it ultimately led Harry to being in his very first scandal, again, quite early on in his career. He bounced back from it completely, but at the time, this sneaky link was big news. Back when Harry was on the X Factor, he developed a crush on the show's presenter, Caroline Flack. Caroline wrote about this little crush in her autobiography, Storm in a Sea Cup, where she revealed that Harry's crush on her was no secret, saying, quote, "I already knew that he had a crush on me, he made it pretty obvious. He'd said it in magazines and he'd said it to friends." end quote. Ultimately, they started dating when Harry was 17 and Caroline was 31. All was well with them until suddenly things got complicated. One day, paparazzi captured images of Harry leaving Caroline's house and a scandal began. Caroline shared her thoughts on what happened next in her book, writing, quote, "It began to go wrong when Harry was pictured coming out of my house one morning, and once that was out, it was open season. After that, anyone could say anything. In the street, people were shouting at me," end quote. Things got so bad that Caroline even started receiving threats from One Direction fans, ultimately ending her relationship with Harry.